Greetings and blessings today. Today's read is out of 1 Samuel chapters 1 through 3. I hope you got a chance to read it, look at it before you watch the video so you kind of have an idea of what we're talking about here. Today, as I got done, my LEO takeaway or my law enforcement takeaway from today was right off the bat in 1 Samuel chapter 1. How many times do you go on a call and you see somebody acting strange and you immediately jump to a conclusion that maybe they're intoxicated, they're on drugs, they're on alcohol, maybe you think they're having some mental issues or difficulties? I did that quite regularly when I was a police officer. Would go up on a call, judge everybody by the circumstances that were going on at the time and go from there. And that's kind of what we do. We get hardened, we become calloused, and a lot of times it's a self-defense mechanism where we kind of pull away from the people. We don't want to feel their pain, and we try and stay away and be what we call a disinterested third party. That may be acceptable from a law enforcement standpoint, but from the Christian standpoint, for those of you who are called to be in law enforcement, to be ministers to the people of your community, to be ministers to other law enforcement officers, that's really not acceptable for us. Now, we have to look for opportunities to minister to folks. So anyway, let me get into the story. We see Eli the priest, and he's ministering at the temple, and he gets this dysfunctional family that comes up. We deal with a lot of dysfunctional families, so we can relate to this. But there's one lady in particular who goes up to the temple and she starts praying. She's moving her mouth. She's crying, lots of tears, very emotional. And Eli the priest says to her in verse 14, "How long will you make yourself drunk? Put away your wine." And he jumps to a conclusion like many of us do. When I read this, I felt very convicted about the way that I handled some of the calls when I was a younger officer, and honestly wish I could go back and get a redo. But this is a lesson for us moving forward on how we treat people, how we look at situations and instances, and how we deal with people. Because we read a little bit further on, actually in the next verse in 15, that this woman says, or God says, she's oppressed in her spirit. I can imagine that a lot of people we come across, a lot of people we deal with on a regular basis, are oppressed in their spirit. Wow, what a great opportunity for a Christian police officer, Christian sheriff deputy, Christian law enforcement officer to insert themselves in that situation and be a minister, to bring light into that darkness for a moment. Because we get to meet people at their worst. We get to meet people in their deepest need. And this is an opportunity for us. But just like this lesson in 1 Samuel chapter 1, God's word is full of teachings for us that we can take into the street, we can use on the job. We can also use at home in our daily lives. So I hope this is beneficial to you. I hope you're able to read 1 Samuel chapters 1 through 3. And I hope you're blessed. So stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow.